All. Today we are going to discuss about PIB news analysis July 19th, National Education Policy or New Education Policy 2020, transforming India, contributing to an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high quality education to all. We'll discuss in detail about NEP 2020. The evolution of education policy. History of India, evolution of education policy is most important for the development. What we are seeing now, after independence, first 1948-49, University Education Commission was introduced, and then 1952-53, Secondary Education Commission was introduced, and then in 1968, National Policy on Education was introduced, and then in 1976. 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, education as added as in concurrent list, and then in 1986 National Policy on Education. National Policy on Education. What we are seeing now for the past 34 years in India, National Policy on Education was implemented, and then in 1992 NPE was amended, Program of Action 1992, and then in 2016 T.S.R. Subramaniam Committee report was introduced to change the policy after 20 years. Again, after 30 years, again in 2019, Dr. Kasturirangan committee report was also tabled in Parliament. This is the evolution of education policy. What are all the major reforms in higher education? 50% gross enrollment ratio by 2025, 2035. In higher education, India is actually planning to increase GER ratio to 50%, and holistic and multidisciplinary education, flexibility of subjects, multiple entry and multiple exit. That is one of the most important. So anytime a student can enter into higher education, anytime he can exit, which means actually in 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 year, whatever it is, he can come, he can exit. And then UG program is actually 3 or 4 years, and then PG program 1 or 2 years, and integrated 5 years bachelor's or master's program also introduced, and MPhil to be discontinued. And then credit transfers, most important. Credit transfers and academic bank of credits is most important. The scheme will entail transfer of credits from one institution to another. Okay, so if you are going from one institution, quitting from one institution, joining to other institution means your ranks, your scores, everything will be transferred from that institute to the new institute, one department to another, and one specialization to another. So you can change anywhere actually. Facilitate migration of students between institutions and supplies and specializations from time to time. That is what the interesting point about credit transfer. And then higher education institutions, research intensive, teaching intensive universities and autonomous degree granting colleges will be introduced. And then model multidisciplinary education and research units university called as Meru was developed in each district equivalent to global standards in the country. That is the idea. Like IAM, IITs, Meru will be there in each district. That is one of the most important reforms in NEP. And other set of reforms, graded autonomy, academic, administrative, and financial. Everything will be there. And then phasing out affiliation system in 15 years. In another 15 years, affiliation system will be completely removed. National mission on mentoring. Mentoring is most important. That will be introduced. And then independent board of governors will be there to track the status of higher education. Single regulator for higher education, excluding legal and medical. Online self disclosure based transparent system for approvals in the place of inspections. Instead of inspections by where the illegal issues are happening, so online self disclosure based transparent system will be there. And then common norms for private and public higher education institution. Everywhere it will be same. Private philanthropic partnership, fee fixation within broad regulatory framework. Public investment in education sector, that is most important. It is only 1 to 2% now, to reach 6% of GDP at the earliest, as soon as possible. India is actually aiming to spend at least 6% of its GDP from a public investment. That is the idea of higher education. And then some of the major reforms are National Research Foundation will be created, and then internationalization of education. Actually, more internationalization will happen. Integration of vocational, teacher, and professional education. Actually, it is now separately vocational education different, teacher education different, professional education different. But now integration, everything will be there. So that's why that multiple entry exit point will be useful. Setting up of new quality higher education institutions has been made easier. So before that, actually, so many norms are there. Now, actually, anyone can open an institution in India. Standalone HEIs and the professional education institutions will evolve into multidisciplinary, that is MERU, and then special education zones for disadvantaged regions, like SEZ for companies, for industries. SEZs are created for disadvantaged regions. So special education zone will be created. National Institute for Pali Prakrit will be introduced, and then National Education Technology Forum (NETF) will be created, and then MHRBD to be renamed as Minister of Education. Indian knowledge systems, languages, cultures, and values, where NEP concentrates on these. Focus on literature and scientific vocabulary of Indian languages, and then language faculty will be there in all grades. Researchers on languages will be promoted. Strengthening national institutes for promotion of classical languages and literatures. Indian Institute of Translation and Interpretation will be created. Cultural awareness of Indian knowledge systems will be promoted, and then promoting traditional arts and Lokvidya. Higher education institution, school or school complex to have artists in residence. That is most interesting point. Other than teachers, artists will stay in residence to transfer their knowledge to students, community. Use of technology in education planning, teaching, learning, and assessment, administration and management, regulation, self-disclosure, and minimum human interface. So everywhere it will be technology will be implemented. Increasing access for disadvantaged groups. Divyang friendly education software will be created. E-content in regional languages, that is most important. And then virtual labs will be created. National Education Technology Forum will be created. Digitally equipping schools, teachers, and students also happen. Similarly, similar to higher education, in school education, universalization of early childhood care education, ECCE. Across India, everything will be same, ECCE, National Mission on Foundational Literacy and Numeracy, that will be created. And then 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 curricular model. Now, whatever we are doing is 5 plus 5 plus 2 plus 3 or 4. In each states, it will be different. But now here it will be common across India, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 curriculum model. Curriculum to integrate 21st century skills, mathematical thinking, and scientific temper. No rigid separation between arts and sciences, between curricular and extracurricular activities, between vocational and academic streams. Everything will be treated same. Education of gifted children, and then gender inclusion fund, and then KGBVs up to grade 12, and then reduction in curriculum to core concepts, and then vocational integration from class 6 onwards. Class 6 itself, vocational training will be given. New national curriculum framework for ECE. ECE means early childhood education. Schools, teachers, and adult education. Board exam will be low stakes based on knowledge application, medium or instruction till at least grade 5 and preferably till grade 8 and beyond in home language, mother language, regional language. That is most important. And then 360-degree holistic progress card of child, tracking students' progress for achieving learning outcomes. National Assessment Center, PARAC, performance assessment, review, and analysis of knowledge for holistic development. That is called PARAC. And then NTA to offer common entrance exam for admissions to higher education institutions. National Professional Standards for Teachers, that is most important. And book promotion policy and digital libraries, transparent online disclosure of public oversight and accountability. So these are all the reforms happening in NEP 2020. So if it is realized, definitely it will be a game changer of India's development. So some of the outcomes, expectations from NEP 2020: universalization from ECCE to secondary education by 2030, aligned with Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is education for all. Attaining foundational learning and numeracy skills through national mission by 2025, 100% GER, gross enrollment index, to secondary levels by 2030, bring back 2 crore out of school children, teachers to be prepared for assessment reforms by 2023, inclusive and equitable education system by 2030, board exams to test core concepts and application of knowledge. Every child will come out of school adept in at least one skill. Common standard of learning in public and private schools. That's those are all the outcomes expectation from NEP 2020. Hope NEP will do wonders in Indian education and India's development. Thanks for watching IABS IAS Academy's YouTube channel. Please subscribe the channel for our daily PIB, AAR, Hindu news analysis. Thank you.